Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
I'm Jessie Cruikshank, and I've always been told I have a face for podcasting. So I launched a podcast. It's called Phone a Friend because each week I'll break down the biggest stories in pop culture. But when I have questions, I get to phone a friend. I'll phone a royal watcher to find out why Prince Harry is acting like a real housewife. I'll phone a tween to please explain Euphoria. And maybe I'll even phone a Backstreet Boy to find out if I still have a chance. I don't? Okay. New episodes drop every Thursday wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Hi, Dave here, and with my wife Cathy.
Hello.
And you're listening to the cinema where we walk home from the movies. Today, we're not walking anywhere because we're staying in.
Because it's 33 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's a heat wave. It's the hottest bank holiday August in history across the whole planet. This is the biggest one. We did it.
Yay, global warming. It's too hot to go outside, and we've got a sleeping baby. And Aquaman's just come on Sky Cinema.
Yeah, and we wanted to catch this in the cinema, but we didn't get a chance. And now the cinema has come to us 6 months later. So a lot of people saw this, so we thought it would be a good one to do a quick episode on.
It's huge, right? It was record breaking.
It's the biggest. It made over $1 billion worldwide. It's the biggest, highest grossing DC comic book movie ever.
Yeah.
Ever
so beating the Christopher Nolan ones.
Batman and everything, as far as I know.
And funnily enough, for our podcast, by a country mile, the most listened to episode we ever had was the Wonder Woman one.
Yeah.
Which was, I think, is that the last time we did a DC movie?
No, we did Batman v Superman sort of at home thing as well.
Oh,
you
yeah.
hadn't seen it.
So we loved Wonder Woman, and then we didn't really like Batman
and we
Superman.
never did the Justice League. We never did a Justice League episode, but I'll tell you right here.
We couldn't finish it.
We watched it. It was dreadful.
We didn't finish it.
I went back and finished it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I one lonely night at 2 a.m. I was flicking around, and I was like, "Oh, what do I want?" And it was like, it was almost the exact point that we turned it off, and I was like, "All right, fine." It wasn't worth it.
Is Wonder Woman in this movie though? Because I loved her.
No, I don't think so. Oh. So Wonder Woman we loved. This was apparently relatively well received. It certainly made a lot of money. Which is bizarre because this is a character that he's been kind of ridiculed for the past few decades. Kind of used as a punchline in most pop culture, I would say.
He wasn't great in the bits of the Justice League I saw. But he, to be fair, was given nothing to do.
He's just a bro, isn't he?
He was just like a hot surfer dude.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, I'm a bro, I'm a cool guy, I'm gonna.
But anyway, we're like wasting valuable nap time, and my popcorn's nearly ready.
But like, who? Oh yeah, popcorn noises. What? But like, what? Who? I don't understand how this movie made so much money.
Yeah, well, wait till we've seen it.
Aquaman.
Well, everyone loves Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman was huge. It's a huge franchise, so that's how it made the money.
Can you sing the Aquaman theme song?
Aquaman does whatever an Aquaman can. That's it, right?
No, it goes Aquaman, the greatest hero of them all.
Really?
No, that's Action Man.
Oh, right.
But I don't think there is one, because who gives a shit about Aquaman?
Well, no, Dave. It's like, who gave a shit about Iron Man until they made his movie? Nobody.
Oh, touche.
Yeah, so don't be touche.
But Iron Man had a great theme song. It was Iron Man, Iron Man. He is made of iron now.
Right, my popcorn's done.
Alright, let's go watch Aquaman.
I'm looking forward to it, and I hope Wonder Woman's in it.
No, it goes like this. Aquaman. I want to be an Aquaman.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
That's it.
No, it goes, I'm an Aquaman in an aqua world, life in aqua.
Wait, wasn't that band?
It's so splashy.
Wasn't that band called Aqua? Is that why?
Yeah, that's why you're making the joke.
Oh, I get it now.
Goodbye.
His jokes are funnier when you explain them.
My father was a lighthouse keeper. My mother was a queen. But life has a way of bringing people together.
We could unite our worlds one day.
Check it out. Arthur is talking to the fish.
They made me what I am. Permission to come aboard.
I've been looking for you. Your half-brother, King Orm, is about to declare war upon the surface world. The only way to stop this war is for you to take your rightful place as king.
Trust me, I am no king.
You do your best thinking when you're not thinking at all.
That was the worst pep talk ever.
Might want to strap in.
Hi, it's us, we're back, and several days have passed because that's how long this movie is.
Yeah, turns out if you don't see this movie in the cinema and you're watching it at home, it's really long.
It's like nearly 3 hours long, I swear. And
it's much longer than your average child's nap, let's put it that way.
Yeah, so we ended up just watching it in piecemeal, but which is clearly
bad way to watch
not the ideal way to watch any movie. However, I also don't want that to sound like this was hard to watch, because I freaking love this movie.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it in the increments we watched
loved
it in. Loved it?
I loved it.
Oh, wow.
I'm in love with this movie.
Really?
While freely admitting it's not particularly good or original.
I enjoyed it for I enjoyed what I liked about it was that it didn't take itself seriously at all. So it was very fun, because it really bugs me when these movies try and be really serious.
See our Captain America Civil War review, which still pains me to think about.
So I thought, look, it embraced the
pains
fact
me
that
to think
it was
of
silly.
Cathy's opinion, not that movie. Sorry.
I like that they embraced that it was silly. It felt kind of like a throwback to more like 90s style of movie.
Yeah.
Like it felt very much like a quest movie, a family movie, a silly movie. And visually,
it felt like that's how they used to make superhero movies.
And it was really colourful, and I wished I'd seen it in the cinema, frankly, because I think it would have been better on a big screen, and I think it would have been awesome.
It was quite beautiful.
It was lovely, places. But I think it would have been awesome in the cinema on 3D and not watched over like 3 days. And Jason
Isn't that what
3D
really stands for?
Yeah, I think so. 3 days.
That's the 3D experience.
So yeah, overall, I mean, I was certainly better than the last one we tried to watch that we never finished, the Justice League, for sure.
Oh God, yeah.
But yeah, overall I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I loved it.
How are those movies in the same like quote unquote universe?
It's weird. Like, but this movie was just more fun and had a really good cast as well. Anyway, because it had like Willem Dafoe, random that he was in this movie, Nicole Kidman.
It's not random at all.
And who was the other?
It's not random.
Unexpected.
You have to have every one of these superhero movies, DC or Marvel, casts an older, respected actor in a supporting role to bring a certain amount of gravitas.
Good again?
Luke Wilson was the villain.
No, it wasn't Luke Wilson. It's not his name.
No, Patrick Wilson.
Wilson. So yeah, I think it had all good elements now, and I enjoyed it. Obviously, I don't think it's a brilliant movie, and I certainly didn't love it. But I definitely enjoyed it.
It's not a brilliant movie.
And I recommend it as a family
viewing. It's barely even a good movie, but I loved it.
You just said it was brilliant, so I'm quoting you.
I didn't. I said I loved it.
Right, okay.
It's not. It's just like just about good, and I still loved it. This is exactly what I wanted.
You love the experience of it, right?
I just think you can love a movie that isn't very good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm saying here.
What did you like about it?
Because there's nothing like... What did I like about it? Okay. I really think James Wan, the director, did, and his team brought some really interesting visuals and ideas to this table. Because you could have, to this watery table. Is there a table reference on the sea floor? Or something. Okay, I'm going to stop.
I'm just completely
right. I'm going to
you.
stop that. I'm getting entrenched in
a really shit
sea
metaphor.
metaphors. So you could have just handed this to a safe pair of hands like him. He's an relatively established
director.
director.
You could have just handed it to a safe pair of hands like him. So they did just hand it to a safe pair of hands. What are you on about?
Okay. But probably the decision might have looked like that on paper. Yeah, he's done Fast and the Furious movies. We'll just give it to him, land it. But he actually, they brought some really beautiful visuals, which we'll talk about in Spoiler Street. Some of the action scenes, the stuff in Venice, despite the fact that clearly they never left.
Oh no, they definitely went to Venice and the Sahara Desert and deep underwater to the lost city of Atlantis.
The green screen Venice. But the way he choreographed a lot of that action scenes were very, very good. And the production design of this movie is quite beautiful. It reminded me of the best part of like the Star Wars prequels, which is essentially some of the design. It felt like just this alien.
It was very
world.
cartoonish,
very bright and colourful, and cartoonish.
But did we figure out? I know you said you might do some research, but you probably didn't. As we were watching it, how like their bodies and their hair were kind of moving differently from their face. We felt like it was very CGI.
It's a little jarring.
It was jarring. I didn't, and that's why I thought it would have been better in the cinema, maybe.
I can appreciate the challenge that was on their hands, because they had to film people having conversations, actors having conversations that were clearly just on sound stages, and then present them as if they're floating and swimming underwater. So I guess what they did was, I stress the word guess here, it looks to me like they filmed the actor's performance
and then just do any research,
and then just like everything around their hairline, they just CGI'd their hair to make it look like it's underwater. That's exactly how it looked to me. And I think to combat that, they and to minimise the amount of shots they had to do, they put Patrick Wilson's hair in a sort of slicked back, tied back
Same
thing,
with Willem Dafoe.
and gave Willem Dafoe a top knot.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe's hair was out of control in this movie.
It's kind of great.
It just looked jarring, and I have to say, I don't think that really worked.
Look, it's a weird effect. Look, I'm saying a lot of this stuff in this movie didn't work, and we can get into that in Spoiler Street. Like the Black Manta costume design, while I guess clearly referencing the original comic book, which I'm not familiar with, just looks shit. And this movie's like could not be less original. It was like every single scene was like, oh, now we're in this movie, and it was like it starts with Splash, then it becomes The Little Mermaid, then it's The Lion King, then it's Return of the King. There's very little originality here, and I would imagine the same goes for the original comic book. But I don't care. It's kind of like I'm okay with just taking all these tropes and all these familiar cliches, slapping on some interesting visual effects. Clearly, this movie feels like it's trying to be interesting and different, and I don't think it succeeds most of the time, but I appreciate the effort, and I just had a lot of fun. I thought that the performances were largely charming. I thought it was fun to be around Jason Momoa and
I liked his dad,
the redhead
as well.
actress. Dolph Lundgren's in this, and just like the battles are just, and the creature design is just crazy. There's like sharks with people are riding sharks into battle on armor.
Yeah,
there's an octopus playing the drums. I mean, it's the
fun stuff you would think if you're told, look, do whatever you want under the sea with any creatures.
Yeah, if they had broken into Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid, I wouldn't have been surprised. Awesome. I would have been like, yeah, okay.
But you know what? I really get why it made all that money and why it beat like Dark Knight or whatever, one of those movies, because often with DC movies they can be quite dark. So obviously The Dark Knight, that series wasn't family appropriate. And as we've seen, the new upcoming Joker movie looks really good, but like definitely wouldn't be family appropriate. So this just has a much wider
you'd bring your
purse
kids
to mine, right?
No
like exactly. Like kind of, it will still get the DC older fans, but it would also get family viewing. So I think it makes a lot of sense that it made all that money, because like even compared to like Batman v Superman, like oh my god, like not only did I not like the movie, it was just also grim. Like this was fun, and I think it works better. And even Suicide Squad, while that was kind of fun, it was still very adult. So this is just much broader and feels like the way they should have gone the whole time, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't know why they ever bothered with that kind of dark stuff.
It feels like they're learning from their mistakes, or they're listening to the audience.
Because Wonder Woman was really fun as well.
And Wonder Woman was kind of good for the same reasons this is, that they backed away from trying to connect everything, like in that scene in Batman v Superman where Lex, spoiler alert if you care, when Lex Luthor like opens up a file with all the superhero icons on it, or Wonder Woman opens up his file and it's got like video footage of all of them teasing the Justice League, but it's like that whole scene is just like shoehorned in there.
Yeah,
this movie just is very much focused on its own story and plot. There's no wider universe
and it
storytelling.
Fits in the same world as Wonder Woman quite comfortably, albeit I would say Wonder Woman's like very much a better movie than this, for sure.
Yeah,
I'd say this is
almost as good.
It's not as well written. It really isn't, and it's not as well directed, and it's not like it's just a different sort of movie. Do you know what I mean?
But
like Wonder Woman is a more serious. It's a fun movie, but it's highbrow is not the right word, but it's like of a different quality than this movie. It's a different quality than this movie. This movie is pure popcorn. That movie has something else going for it as well.
Actually, another interesting way they kind of moved away from how they established Aquaman in the Justice League was, personally speaking, I felt, and I think I said this in the intro all those days ago.
I can't remember them doing the intro.
I felt like they cast Jason Momoa and they kind of presented Aquaman as this kind of bro. Hey, I'm gonna...
They didn't kind of present it as that.
I got big testicles.
That is what he is.
And I'm like, it's just like... Yeah, that's kind of how they presented it. And I thought, I can't really... I don't know if I can stand 2 hours and 40 minutes of, like, machismo.
But actually, he's quite vulnerable in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. And they almost instantly disregard that in a very early scene, which you expect to... in a bar... which you expect to go one way, and then they kind of play it for laughs and sort of undercut those expectations, which I thought was quite clever and set the tone for the rest of the movie, because I think you're right, vulnerable is the right word for him. It's kind of a, I'm not saying he's the greatest actor in the world, but I thought
he's a good actor.
He really held the screen, and
he was. I really enjoyed. I don't know the actor's name, but the guy who played his dad, and I really enjoyed their scenes together. So they were really
he's
nice.
from the Star Wars prequels. Funnily enough, because I was talking about them. So he was Boba Fett's dad.
Like, there's lots of good things to say about it, but I would say, like, before we get to Spoiler Street, if you are going to watch this movie, start it early and get your snacks in. Don't try and watch it during like an afternoon nap, because that won't work. But it's definitely like kind of a long weekend, rainy day vibes.
That advice is specific to only a certain amount of our audience.
Well, maybe.
Like, guys, don't try it on the afternoon nap, right? You want this in the mid-morning or the very late nap or after bedtime.
Anyway, I'm just saying, like, settle in and watch it early. Don't turn it on at like 9 o'clock, because it is too long, and you will turn it off, because while it's enjoyable, it's not compelling enough. Like, there was never a scene where we were like, we have to get to the end of this scene before we pause it. You know what I mean? Like, we were very comfortable pausing the movie a couple of times.
Anyway, let's crack on to Spoiler Street.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got
nothing for Spoiler Street.
You got nothing. Well, it happened. This movie happened more than yesterday in your mind. So as far as you are concerned, it doesn't exist anymore.
But it also just has a very obvious ending. So, like, there's no surprises
but the ending,
in this movie.
Okay, no, but fine. I'm actually fine with no surprises.
No, I am too. I'm just saying it doesn't leave much in the way of Spoiler Street.
No, there's not a whole lot to unpick. I will say, like... Oh, Indiana Jones was another one I wrote down. There's, like, I loved... You mentioned quests. There's, like, a fun quest in this. There's a MacGuffin. It's the Trident. It's got magical powers. It's
but spoiler alert, all the trailers have him holding the gold Trident.
Yeah, I know.
Not that I wouldn't have known he had it anyway.
Isn't that the trailers we're seeing, like, now for it coming on Sky Cinema and stuff, which often those things do spoil things after the fact.
Do you know what it reminded me of? A movie that I greatly enjoyed. The Brendan Fraser movie, Journey to the Centre of the Earth.
I wrote that down as well.
That's because I said it when we were watching it.
Right.
It's
got those vibes.
I really like that movie. Like, I think that's a very good family movie, and it had elements of that I enjoyed.
I liked all that globe-trotting thing. I liked that they
didn't do enough of that, though. Like, the globe-trotting ended very quickly, and suddenly he's just back fighting again.
No, but the globe-trotting also went, like, to the 7 kingdoms of the sea or what. Or I liked one of them was in the desert.
They didn't really follow it through, though. Like, I think they...
No, I don't agree. I think this was, like, sufficient world building for a 2-hour 45-minute and with movie with all these other bits to cram in.
There was a lot going on.
It was just enough. I think it was fine. They were like, there was enough exposition to kind of keep you in. I was quite interested in the sort of the history of Atlantis.
No, I was interested in that, but I wanted more of that stuff, because there's a bit where they lost me where. So actually, this is a spoiler. Kind of relatively early on in the movie, he ends up battling his brother and losing, right, and getting banished. And I felt like they could have done without all of that. Like, I would have rather not watched this extended battle scene early on in the movie where it felt too soon, and I would have rather watched more of the mythology. Like, the lost city of Atlantis, I was obsessed with that when I was a kid. Like, that's fascinating stuff. And I felt like they didn't really mine the mythology the way a movie should have, really, that was set there.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not saying this movie couldn't have been trimmed or shorter, but I'm saying I'm satisfied with the amount of history and storytelling they provided.
Yeah, for what? And
Like,
but
if you
also
want more,
nobody needs a spoiler alert
read
for
the
Nicole
comics.
Kidman, because she shows up in the first scene and then is supposedly dead, and it's like,
But
they
it's like
did not
it's the
cast.
weakest. It's the weakest. Oh, she died.
Oh,
Thing.
she dead.
Are we ever going to believe that? Oh, I guess they expect. Oh, we said there were no twists or surprises earlier. I think the movie.
That's not a
wants
twist,
You, that
like.
yes, the movie wants that to be a twist.
It only isn't a twist if the actress. It's only a twist if the actress isn't Nicole Kidman. So
No,
what?
but-
You cast her for one scene.
No, but here's the thing.
Of course,
Hang on.
of course, Nicole Kidman's coming back.
Yeah, I know, but that's you and me looking at it with the years of watching these, because we've seen this movie
we
a
just
million
understand
times.
how much her paycheck would have
No,
been.
but we're understanding that context. Will you let me finish the sentence?
Okay.
You said this is a family movie earlier. If there's if I was a 10-year-old watching this, I might have been surprised by
Yeah,
that. So I feel like the movie, and you can't say the movie isn't presenting that as a surprise, because it is.
Oh no, the movie is.
You're
It's just like,
you're judging the effectiveness of the surprise.
Yeah.
And I
Because
agree
it's
with
Nicole
you.
Kidman.
Wasn't surprised.
and particularly because they had de-aged her so much. It's like, oh, so we're going to obviously see her aged later.
Yeah, because
Classic.
otherwise you just
Otherwise,
hire a
just
younger actress.
Yeah, or just show her at her age and say she was like ageless or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got to say, right, I do worry a little, like, from a character point of view, like what Aquaman actually learns. There's a whole. I think
worried?
the movie's.
Are you concerned about
I'm really
him?
concerned about it because, well, it's a weird message it's delivering. If we're going back to this being a family movie. Yeah, I guess he learns to be a leader. He's the reluctant leader, right? Which we've seen a million archetype, and then he becomes the king. Whatever. But there's a scene very early on with that Black Mantis guy and his father, which again, when you think of all that stuff, that feels like, right, you've
I've
too much in
literally
this
forgotten
movie.
that.
Exactly. Too much. You had a whole submarine sequence at the beginning just to create a secondary side villain. They could have lost all of that stuff. But anyway, yeah, the father is pinned down and Black Mantis is like, help me, and Aquaman's like, no, I'm not,
Aquaman, your father will die for this.
yeah, I'm not helping you. You guys are bad. See ya. Which is, like, I was that shocked and surprised when that happened.
Yeah, because you would expect
Because he's
for
supposed to be
him
a
to
hero
save
at
him
this
and be
stage.
like, you learned your lesson, don't ever hurt innocent people again.
Well, yeah, and then I
Because
expect...
he's already, at this point, has he already been in the Justice League?
Yeah, he has, and he saved the world or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, fine, that was pretty awful. But now, is he, by the end of this movie, is he going to acknowledge that he did wrong and then we're going to see him change his actions or something? No, he just like...
I killed that. No, he did admit to his girlfriend, I killed that dude's father.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have.
But that's it. He says, well, now I've realised... He says something along the lines of, and now it's come back to bite me in the ass because that guy went and built a laser suit. So it's like, wait, the lesson you've learned is... you should probably save people in case they come back as supervillains later.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to have to wrap up pretty quickly because Oscar's getting very impatient
Oscar.
with us.
Sorry, I know it's boring, isn't it? You didn't even see this because it was over 3 of your naps.
Yeah, that was poor, that stuff.
I thought that was really weak, and they never really landed that beyond that. So really, and again, if you're thinking of like impressionable young people watching these movies, and the whole point of superheroes is to present a better version of humanity and ourselves. Superman, while to me he's quite a boring character, he's supposed to represent the best things about humanity reflected back at us from an alien's, through an alien's eyes.
Yeah.
And I actually think that kind of storytelling is important. So I think that I found his actions a little troubling. And the same
think
goes
he's a
for
great-
Batman and v Superman and all that. That's why those movies just felt dirty and nasty, I thought.
I think he's a really good actor and he really pulls it off. But like, yeah, you're right. The character's
That's not his
likable.
fault. It's
what
the
about
writing.
his girlfriend character? I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't
What's she
remember
called?
neither the character nor the actress's name.
Yeah, sorry. I
I enjoyed them together. I thought they had good chemistry, but she
Mira.
wasn't given much to
Mira.
do. Yeah.
I thought, all right, one of my favourite visuals was the trench when they're being attacked by these monsters and they realise that they're afraid of light, so they have to light up flares and then they're swimming downwards and there's I almost wanted it as a screensaver. It was so good. It was like,
oh my god, you'd replace your Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse screensaver with Aquaman.
yeah, almost. I mean, it's a real prime spot. My desktop wallpaper. There's those two like red lights going down with these like shaded thousands of monsters closing in and around them. It was like really good.
Yeah, that
and
did
like
look good.
hinted at his sort of, that whole thing hinted at James Wan's sort of horror upbringing. And I thought that all that stuff was excellent. The creature design was brilliant. What wasn't excellent was Nicole Kidman's sort of handmade disguised costume as one of them, where she just basically looked like a cheap Halloween Predator costume. It just looked really bad and rubbery. So some of the production design in here didn't quite pay off, but the artwork, the art department, like, were killing it in this movie. And that's kind of it. I could go on forever. I'm really bothered by the whole Randall Park thing. So the actor from fresh off the boat and Veep and all those things. You know, he shows up at the end as the guy. They seed him throughout the television in the background, and he's like, "Guys, I'm telling you, like, there's evidence of Atlantis being a real place," and his fellow people on the panel are like, "You're crazy, what are you talking about?" And I'm like, but this doesn't make any sense. You live in a world where Superman is a thing,
well, also
and
where
Batman.
Aquaman is a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know a man lives underwater.
Exactly. It's like, why aren't you listening to this guy who has actual evidence and you're dismissing it offhand? Like, that was absurd.
But you know what was weird for me now, again, having not seen much of Justice League, I appreciate that this was a standalone movie, but watching this movie I was like, I thought it was odd that there wasn't even kind of much passing references to the fact that
they mentioned the villain.
But
Darks,
there was no like the whole world's under
villain.
threat by this. Like, wouldn't he at least got a phone call from Wonder Woman or somebody to say, like, do you need some help? Like, why? What's the point of the Justice League? They just were not. You know what I mean? Usually they'll make reference to someone's on another world or they're dealing with another crisis. And I know that stuff's a bit silly, but I appreciate that it was standalone. But like, God, even just a bit of a nod to the other characters might have made a bit of sense.
And it's like, it's not like it was just his world under threat and he was trying to, like, the whole world was a threat because they were going to come and wage war on the surface.
Yeah.
So whatever.
But no, overall, again, like, popcorn movie is what I would call it. Enjoyable popcorn.
Come on,
movie.
I think Oscar's really bored of this. All right, thanks for listening, everyone.
Listening to our very, very late review of this movie. And actually, now though, I know I wish I'd seen it in the cinema because it would have looked better, but I'm glad we didn't go, because fucking hell, we would have been at the cinema for days.
Let us know what you thought of Aquaman. A lot of you already did it on our Twitter at the Cinemile.
And a lot of you clearly saw it because it made so much money.
A lot of you were just telling us, what are you doing? Don't do this. A lot of I'd rather poke my eyes out references. People really didn't like this movie.
There's few things in life I'd rather poke my eyes out than do. And certainly half watching this movie is not one of them.
Wow, that was an awkward sentence.
Yeah.
If you want to email us your thoughts, you can do it at thecinemile@gmail.com. We also have a Patreon page where you can get a load of bonus episodes of old movie reviews. Like this, technically, it's not that old. Older than this.
Our next retro movie review is going to be heist movies.
Yes, so go there, vote which heist movie you want us to watch. And we will see you all later.
Bye.
Thank you very much for listening.
One true king.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What do you do when no one else is watching? What do you do that makes you happy for no reason at all? What are you obsessed with? I'm Leslie Arfin, and I'm a writer, but I'm also a dancer, a painter, a vapor, a dollhouse enthusiast, and basically just an overall hobbyist. My podcast, Filling the Void, is all about what other people are fanatically into. We talk about hobbies, even if you don't have one.
Listen to Filling the Void on Tuesdays on the Erios Network and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.